What's up, guys? So on tonight's episode, we're going to kind of go over a kind of sweet build that I've had for a few years. I want to say about 2-3 years. It's been going off and on. Been just slowly tinkering with it and finally starting to pick up some speed with it as time goes on. But the rundown of it, it is a 1972 Datsun 510 that originally had a L16 engine in it, 4-speed dogleg transmission. And original owner was a local dude around here. And so I ended up getting it, and cancer, rust was pretty bad in it, and couldn't get the L series to run right. It just had a bunch of problems overall, and I've been tinkering around with S chassis for 8, 9 or so years, so I know those pretty well, and I've always dreamed of having a pretty cool old school build. Messed around with 240Zs and 280Zs, and I liked them, but overall the Peter Brock 510 Datsun was something that's always just in the background of my mind. I always want to build a Datsun 510, and so here's a few pictures of it when I got it. It was not in the best condition by any means. Had this pretty sweet Spain Datsun livery, which was from a Datsun dealership in, if I'm not mistaken, Mississippi. The owner's son actually sold it to me, and it's faded. Everybody was like, "Oh man, you should do a sweet patina job on it," and just never got to it. Never really could figure out exactly the direction I wanted to go with it. Wanted to do the BRE style bubble flares all around it, and just parts are hard to come by. Couldn't find good quarter skins. So with that being said, I kind of just did what I could, and well, after that was all said, I ended up just not knowing the direction I really wanted to go in, but I knew I just wanted to keep it S chassis. Something about it, wanted to keep it NA, because there's plenty of guys who've done LS swaps. There's even a guy with an RB swap, a 510. Everybody knows I love RBs, but that's a lot of fab work. It'd be cool, but it wouldn't be the car I really wanted it to be. And so I ended up getting this really good deal on this S15 NASR. My buddy Travis had a S15 SR in his S13 hatch years ago. Kind of just always been in the back of my mind. There's a lot of cool stuff you can do with them. And so I really just wanted to keep it kind of old school. Maybe find some ITBs or fab up some ITBs for it. And ended up F-Series or K-Series, but they were relatively cheaper than a set of Nismo or motorcycle carburetors and ITBs. And what I did was I got the gasket for the intake side and the gasket that came with the ITBs, and made a CAD file, and I sent that off and had it made. And just kind of, it's been a project for off and on. Like I said, this thing's been behind me on a dolly for about 2-3 years. So it's been a slow background project between the Safiro, the GTR, and everybody else's stuff. And so I kind of just wanted to just slowly take my time, be like the old dude that, just had that car that sit in the back of a shop that he just tinkered on. But I have an end goal for this. I'd really like to bring it to the new age with, a Haltech Elite, amazing ECU soft. I'd really like to bring it into the future with, a pretty nice standalone. Everything will be from the ground up wiring, LEDs, you name it. Just a nice resto mod that, something that you can depend on and it'll still look cool. So underneath it, I put S chassis front rear subframe. Still working on the rear. Finally kind of got the S13 front subframe just right. And I ended up the other night finally making the first cut into the subframe and the frame rails to where you can bolt a factory S chassis S13 frame rail or subframe into the car. And I've got a time lapse of that, lots of measurements, lots of sitting down and really trying to make sure I wanted to do this before I ultimately make the first cut. And it's most of it all bolts up all together. Actually using S13 coilovers for the front section of it. They actually bolt right up. I'm gonna have to make tension rod mounts I'm going to try to keep everything as close to S chassis as I can. Going to be a long, drawn-out process on the rear. I've gotten most of the measurements correct, everything dialed in. I'm going to start actually cutting the rest of the frame and subframe and the flooring out to start working on getting that subframe in there. I'd like to have it on the ground by the end of this year. It's just now November. Probably won't happen, but it's something we're going to shoot for. It's going to be something to be documented. And with that being said, we've got a lot of goodies, a lot of start from scratch, just like we're doing with this other S13. So like a list of some of the parts we have for this car already that I wanted to do. I've got a 4.6 ring and pinion. We'll put in an R200 for my 240. Factory axles, nothing super crazy. Gonna go with probably Willwood brakes all the way around, just for a slimmer profile to really put a nice old school wheel on there without it looking too messy or too, really trying to just draw out a good aftermarket car with, track inspired potential. And going to be running a wired specialties harness, going to be depinning it, got it with this engine and transmission combo. Recently acquired a Haltech Elite 550. We'll be going and installing it, showing how to go through it and set it up. The engine will have Tomei Type B full head build with 272 Pro cams. That's about it as of right now. Nothing super crazy until I find another SR block and head to start building for a high compression, higher 12-to-1. They're really sweet. And other than that, that's the build for right now. That's to look forward to. I know this is a long time coming. There's probably a lot of people who are going to be mad, say, why don't I just LS swap it? But it's my build. Let's keep it old school and classy.
Damn! Boys, I can't give you a bad, but I can give you a green eggs and ham!